Bum ba da We are back. Nico Blitz, the lunch table, the legendary Tiana Kocher.
What's good?
Yo, Tiana, it's 2 p.m. right now in California. What time is it over there in the Philippines?
It is 5 in the morning.
Woo! Dude, you're up so early.
Okay. Ever since I've been here though, like I've never really adjusted to like this time. Like I've always been working like your time. Also, more so now that baseball is back and I want to catch all the games live. So I'm up. Like I woke up at like my midnight. So I'm like fully up now.
Got you. Well, because, I posted something on my story just promoting this interview and whatnot, and then you responded immediately. I'm like, bruh, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning. So it was like 1 a.m. over there, huh?
Yeah, no, I'm fully up. Like I like you can text me and I'll be up. Like I'm on your time. I'm not on this time. I'm fully LA time.
Oh, man. For all of you just tuning in, man, if you don't know, Tiana Kocher, good friend of mine, she is a singer. She's a bubble pop? What genre do you want to call it?
I'd say like contemporary R&B, which kind of has like some pop influences in it. Yeah.
R&B pop singer,
Right.
Yeah. You just dropped a record, Take Over, featuring Sage the Gemini. Bay Area in the building.
My bro.
T, I'm so happy because when I meet you about a year ago, something like that, right?
A year, like exactly a year ago. It was definitely in October because I remember you saying it like Filipino Heritage Month.
Yeah, you're right.
Exactly a year ago.
And I'm just so happy to see you progress musically. I always see you on the internet, like whether you're doing covers or just singing like whatever you got going on, and it's like, I'm happy to see someone like yourself so active, especially during a time like, quarantine's happening right now. You being an artist during quarantine, how has that affected you, whether it be on a positive note or a negative note?
I'd say a positive is that I am still able to release content because luckily before, Corona happened, I was in the studio all the time and I have a lot of like videos and just singles that I was ready to release, like mixed and mastered, ready to go. So I'm happy that I'm able to stay consistent with my releases, and you never know how a song can positively like impact somebody. There have been times where I've just been like really, really lost or like really, really sad, and I listen to something and, it just sparks something in you. So, I've made it a point to just, keep being consistent with my releases because you never know how, it can impact somebody because everybody's struggling this time. I haven't met a single person that hasn't struggled at all like this pandemic. So, I'm just trying to spread like my music and just like the positivity that I, channel with that. So just always, just keep putting out music. You never know. But I definitely have struggled creatively, not gonna lie. Like I thought that I would be raking with music right now and my writing, but I'm the kind of person that I write with experience. And since I haven't really been experiencing things or like going out seeing friends, because none of my friends are here. All my friends are in either London or in LA or in New York. I have hit a major writer's block. So I think that's the only like negative thing I'd say that's really happened to me. And it sucks because, obviously there are days when I'm like, my outlet is my writing and my music. That's how I like to express myself. And so if I'm not able to express myself, I feel like I'm in a box. But
so then, during this time, like, especially since you haven't been out experiencing what like real life is, like, have you gotten out of that writer's block yet, or do you think you're still in it?
I think I'm still in it. Because I'm like at home with like my family, like my grandparents live next door. My mom, she's obviously, older, and I have a niece and a nephew that live next door. I'm also careful with going out, and you never know like what you can bring back into the house, even if it's just like a simple cold. So I I'm not sure if I can get out of this block. I'm like trying. I'm like just texting my friends like, "Hey, yo, you got any like tea you want to tell me or like you want to take some time?" I'm like, I just need something, anything. But hopefully, if the holiday season comes in and like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas and New Year's, hopefully, I get more inspiration. But as
You
of right
know,
now,
T, what we need from you, homegirl? We need like Tiana Kocher Christmas songs.
you know what? You're not the first person that said that.
That's what I'm saying. We need it.
Honestly, like one of my favorite Christmas songs ever is the Christmas song, chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I rake that. Like I really don't want to like sound like really like up my, right now, but when I that used to be like a part of my repertoire because back in musical theater school, like everybody had to have a Christmas song because we would perform in like the local mall in Cambridge and whatnot. So that was a song that my music teacher, her name's also Liz. Wow.
Liz, what up?
So many Liz's in my life, I swear. But that's I have been thinking about it. I really honestly was thinking about doing it this year, but because I want to release my EP like top of next year, I'm not sure I'm gonna do it this year. But it's definitely something that I've always wanted to do.
I mean, you could use it as build-up for the EP.
It's very true.
I just want to give you some ideas.
Very true.
At the credits, you could just put Nico Blitz. Just very small text. I'm not tripping.
This is dedicated to Nico because he forced me to do this.
Right. No, but speaking of the EP, like, is Takeover gonna be on the EP?
No.
Oh, it's not. Okay, so this one's just kind of a loosey.
Yeah, the EP is completely different than any of my past releases. It's like my heart and soul in 6 songs, basically. It's like all like slow, mid-tempo, just raw, real vulnerable stuff. Like it's like really like nothing that's I released yet.
Okay. So I do want to talk about the EP, but I think people might know you for the song "Takeover" right now. Dope record with Sage the Gemini. How did that song come about? And I was super geeked once you dropped it because I'm like, yo, Sage, that's some Bay Area shit.
Yo, Sage is.
I gotta listen to this one.
He's a bro. He's the bro. And what's funny is that we didn't record that together. We only met each other on set, like when we filmed the video. So it was the producer of the song that, brought us together. And when writing it, it wasn't like a typical like kind of love song because, obviously Sage and I have like a big age gap and it's just like a brother and sis kind of relationship. Mm-hmm. So it was more so just like in a general standpoint of like, oh, what a couple could do together and like kind of like take over the world, like the power like a couple can have, especially if they really mesh and they really work well together. But nothing like really, it was like it's a more general thing. It's nothing like intimate, nothing explicit really. It's like even one of those things where it's like you can even like kind of relate to it to like a friendship or just stuff like that,
like the bosses are taking over right now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I guess that's the stigma that a lot of millennials and Gen Z kind of grew up on. It's like if you see a male and a female, especially on a song, it's like they must be talking about sex. But it's like when I do listen to the song, I'm like, okay, it's more so like an empowering thing, and it's one of those songs where I can actually hear on a movie because it's so broad and general, to where it's like that's kind of the formula for pop music anyway.
Mm-hmm. Like I'd love for it to be in like some spy movie, but like a spy movie that's not like James Bond, like more so like the spy movie with like Melissa McCarthy. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
No, I haven't watched that one.
Yes, you need to watch it. You have to watch it.
Right. Yo, I just want to give a quick shout out to PJ and Hetty tapped in on Twitch right now. What up, guys? What up? Make sure you check out Tiana Kocher. What's popping? We also got Jay Cohen in the building. She just brought some food. Gonna eat that after this interview. But you know, Sage being a very commercially successful guy in the music industry, and you know, especially from the Bay Area, because that's huge, right? Like, to name a couple people who are the biggest commercially successful artists, MC Hammer from the Bay, Her from the Bay, G-Eazy from the Bay, Sage the Gemini from the Bay. Is there any bit of like information or advice that you got from Sage, like during that meeting you guys had during the music video set?
Yeah. It's what's funny is that like he calls me all the time. We'll just FaceTime, we'll catch up. Like we like because of that, like we really developed like a really, really good friendship, and he kind of became like mentor to me, like over like the course of like my career and like ever since I've known him. And he's the type of person that like he'll like background check people.
Mm.
Like he's like, okay, like you gotta watch out for, you know, this kind of person. Like these are the red flags. Like this is what you look for in a person. And he's always been that type of person to just really guide me. He'll be straight up with me. He'll be like, you need to work on the writing of this song. You gotta, you know, make something that's a little bit more like upbeat, something that's like a little bit more catchy. And he's like giving me so much advice that I can't like pinpoint like one specific one, because he's just really been consistent throughout like my whole entire career.
That's amazing.
Yeah. No, like he's like became bro. Like he has my mom's number. Like it's family at this point.
Oh, yeah. So basically your mom put Sage onto the Filipino food, huh?
I don't think he's tried Filipino food yet, actually. He's actually been saying that he wants to come here, and I'm like, bro, like, listen, like, if Americans were allowed in the country, I would have told you to book your flight already, because I have a studio here, and we could have been raking music like that.
Wow. That's so wild.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, I think you need to put Sage onto that tatang that you put me on to last year.
Thinking about moving back down to LA, and so, you know, when we're both in town, it's the spot. I'm gonna take him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I saw a very interesting post on your Instagram the other day. If you guys go on her Instagram right now, Tiana Kocher, it's like a purplish type of background and whatnot. Very cool animation, you know. And just to read a little bit of the caption. Now you feel like all the hard work the past few years has been paying off. You wanted to share your journey and a few tips and tricks you've learned embarking on your music career alongside your friend Kiana Zara. So you are now the owner of Quarter Life Crisis, the podcast. Congrats.
Yes, thank you.
What encouraged you to start this podcast off?
Honestly, Kiana and I were just, I'm gonna put you on her music too, because it's really dope. Kiana and I were just FaceTiming one day, and we were both just like, and I was giving her advice, and I was like, yo, like literally, what if we just like recorded this conversation and uploaded it? Like it would literally help so many people, because I've tried so much. I've worked with different people. You meet different people. Some people say that they can do this for you. Some people say that, you know, they can bring you to the Grammys. They can bring you to the VMAs and this and this and this and this. But like, no, like there's really never somebody that can do that unless you're like Lizzo or Ariana Grande and stuff like that. So there are, you know, obviously things that I've learned, and like, you know, like different things to use, like DistroKid or TuneCore, like what's better, like the differences between BMI and ASCAP, and like just things like that I feel like a lot of people don't understand. You need to know before going into the music industry, and just like even terminology. Like I had no idea what an EPK was.
Yeah,
every time the publicist would mention, oh yeah, let me add it to your EPK. Do you have voters for your EPK? I was like, girl, like what is an EPK? Like you gotta tell me. I'm like, am I missing something? And so just like we made this to just help like any independent artist get their foot in the door, because it's not an easy feat. Not at all, especially if you're doing it yourself. So yeah, we were just inspired to just, you know, give back and help, because I'm always the type of person that like loves to like help people. Like no matter what. Like I just love doing it. So yeah, we created that. Every Monday it's an episode on career stuff, and every Wednesday is an episode on like life stuff. So we talked about this week, well, next week it's coming out, what happens when you transition from your teens to your 20s. So that's the theme.
Ooh, okay. Well, I'm sure people are going to tune into the podcast, but like, what are some, I guess, what does happen during that transition from your teens to your 20s?
Well, one thing that I talked about is, in general, quality always trumps quantity. And I specifically like talked about like losing friends and gaining friends that just get you. Like I used to be the type of chick that used to be like such a people pleaser, and like in high school I was like the popular girl, like everybody in the rival school knew me, like I was that chick. But then like I realized that like after like leaving high school, like none of that matters. Like literally, like
none of
that matters. Like now I even look at my old yearbook and I'm like, oh my gosh, like did I have English with this person? Like I don't remember. Like I really don't remember anything. And like no tea, no shade. It's just, it just goes to show like it's very surface. And obviously after living in 2 different countries ever since graduating from high school, I've learned so much just by meeting different people and just like by meeting different like types of people from different places. And I've learned that at the end of the day, if you have like 3 solid friends that got your back, that's always gonna mean more than having 20 friends that don't even know your birthday.
100%. I mean, I totally agree with that. Like, my group of friends from back home in the Bay, it's like, I tell my girlfriend all the time, it's like there's probably 20 of us that are legitimately really good friends, and because we know each other that well.
Right.
But, to also piggy bank off of the transition from your teens to the 20s, I do also feel once you get into college or, you get into real life, so to speak, you do end up meeting people who you are, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, not necessarily forced to be with every day. Because in high school, right, it's like a finite amount of people.
Yeah.
But as soon as college hit and I started doing the podcast and whatnot, it's like I meet people like yourself. I meet people like Liz, for instance. I meet all these artists and all these rappers and singers just to find that, we all have the same similar interests.
Yeah, definitely.
Me, I feel like that even though it is good to have that quality core group, you end up meeting a whole bunch of people later on in life who you have similar interests with. And in a sense, they kind of understand you in a different way more than your friends from back home or like your core group of friends.
And I think what has like the reason why that's like a thing is because obviously in high school, like everybody's taking the same classes and stuff like that. Like it's just like, yeah, sure, you want to be a singer, but you have to learn math. Like you need to know, what you need to know the periodic table. Like you need to know like the history of like World War II. Like you got to know that stuff, but you're gonna be a singer. And I think that's why like after moving on to college or going into the rest of your career, that you find your people because it's the people that have the same interests as you.
Yeah, 100%, man. So, with that being said, I'm happy you're here on the lunch table, Tiana.
always happy that I'm here.
Right.
It's always time.
So, Tiana, I've been talking to a lot of Filipino creatives around the industry, ever since quarantine and even prior to that too. And, even recently 88 Rising had just dropped a project called Paradise Rising, where they highlighted nothing but Filipino artists, right?
Kiana's in it.
Huh?
Tiana was in it.
Yeah, Kiana V was in it.
Yeah, and Messiah.
Yeah, like, I mean, there were so many people I was just put onto just from listening to that project. And I'm just like, like, Filipinos are so dope, but we could do some dope-ass shit in the music industry.
So talented.
Yeah. I mean, and for everybody who's not Filipino watching this shit right now, we're just forewarning, we're gonna get into a whole bunch of Filipino talk right now.
Right now.
But like
now.
You being in the music industry for as long as you have been, what does it mean for you to finally see some sort of stamp for Filipinos on a mainstream level in terms of music?
All right, I'm glad you brought that up because a couple weeks ago I had an interview with these two Filipino girls. They're twins from the Bay. They're young, they're like 15, and they wanted to interview me, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, let's do it, absolutely. And you know, I was just talking, and then like one of them started crying, and I was like, whoa, like, oh my gosh, did I offend you? Like, what did I say something that like, oh no, like take it back. And then she was like, no, you just have no idea that what you're saying means so much to us. And then I started crying because I was like, oh yeah, okay. Growing up, like I never had anybody to look up to that I was like, I want to be like her. I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. Obviously, there's like Tamia and Brandy that I was like, oh my gosh, yes. But there was never a Filipino singer that really made it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that looked like me, that came from where I came from, like from the Philippines, like from the island, that you can genuinely say made it. And so I was just thinking about those girls, and I was like, you know what, like you never know that you can be that person for somebody. And so to see Filipinos finally getting like the recognition they deserve obviously makes me so proud, and like not just like, oh yeah, Filipinos boxing, right? No, like
Manny Pacquiao, right?
Like there's so many talented singers, so many talented actors. Like we had this conversation exactly a year ago. Like I said there's some people that don't even know that there are Filipinos in the top 40s right now.
Yeah.
Like
people didn't even realize, like, you know, shout out to El Mine, the producer, who's produced a whole bunch of the dopest shit that's out right now.
Right, exactly. There's so many people that people like. Even me, like people are like, "You're Filipino." I'm like, yeah. I was like, I thought you were like Latina. I'm like, oh, same. But like, kind of pass as the same thing, you know. My mom,
you know, I've heard the Filipinos are the Mexicans of Asia.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joe Coy. He said that, not me.
Did. It's true. It's true. Bro, we live in NoHo. We know what's up.
Yeah, we know.
But it really makes me happy to be able to see peers like, you know, like Tiana and like even a friend like Messiah like get like the international recognition that they deserve, because like I'm like, dude, like we're killing it. Like as a country, well, as artists from a country, not the country as a whole. We're killing it. Sorry, I had to change that. Not maybe, you know, but as artists from a country, like we're 100% killing it right now.
100%. And you know, I'm happy to see again you progress in your career, Kiana progress in her career. You know, just to shout out a couple other people like Karen Sita, for example, or I mean, there's just so many. There's this kid that I got put up on, Mateus, something like that. I don't know, or my homie Day Namar. Like my point being, because I can make the list go on and on. My point being is that a year ago we didn't see any of this happen.
No.
1 year later, we see so many Filipinos doing something, whether it be with 88 Rising on Paradise Rising or people getting like millions of streams. You finally dropping your song with Sage. You know, your EP is gonna come out in like a couple months. Like, it's dope to see the progress go little by little and brick by brick. And additionally, too, to capitalize on what you said, the fact that you're not jealous or envious of the Filipinos who are making it, who were on Paradise Rising, so on and so forth, like that just pays dividends to your personality. And you know, it really speaks a lot about UT, and like,
thank you.
It's something that I don't see in a lot of people then, and I hope that you continue to foster that within yourself.
Always. Yeah. I'm really like grateful to be given, you know, this platform and regardless of like what opportunities I have, you know, I'm always gonna push for my people, and always gonna, you know, speak up for like what's right. You got to.
Mm-hmm.
You
Amen.
got to.
So T, you know, before we get to the end of the interview, EP, when's it coming? When's it dropping? What's the name?
You know what? I think it's just gonna be self-titled, just because it's, you know, my first EP my first really like big project and not just single. So I think it's just gonna be self-titled because, you know, there's no other way to describe it other than it's just me. So 6 songs, all really, really, really like vulnerable tracks that I wrote when I was like just raking in the studio. Like there's one track that we were in the studio for 36 hours.
Oh my God.
Like, I am not leaving until this track is perfect. And it is.
Like they didn't shower for 3 days.
Oh no, I only went home to make sure that Ferg was okay.
Your dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I made sure that like he like went to the bathroom, he had food, and then like I had someone else watch him for the rest of the day. Because I was like I have to get this ready.
Yeah.
Like this particular one needs to be perfect. And I even missed, you know, Pilo.
Yeah.
I missed I was supposed to go to his event like that day, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't, like I'm so sorry, but I need to like I text like David up. I was like, yeah, I was like, this song means so much to me, and like it's like I'll probably send it to you. We even put like vibrations like that literally calm you down. I'm telling you, man, like this song is like my masterpiece.
What's it called?
Dive.
Yeah.
Okay. It's one of those songs where it's like I'm gonna send it to you. You need to listen to it. Earphones, close your eyes. That kind of like you need. Yeah.
Maybe on some ayahuasca, you know, and some
right.
marijuana.
So like when I listen to that song in the studio, I'm like, everybody like turn off the lights, put on like the starry lights, and everybody just close your eyes. Like it's that kind of song. Like I literally played it for a friend and he fell asleep.
What? I mean, like, honestly, I take that as a compliment.
It like those vibrations calmed him down to that like point that he full on fell asleep. I turned around and I was like, oh.
It's like, I wasn't bored. I was just really calm.
Yeah. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please do, T. So T, when is it gonna drop? Do you have a date or anything?
No street date, but it's definitely gonna be around the winter. I'm thinking like end of Jan, first week of Feb, maybe around my birthday, which is soon. Okay. It's October. It's October where I am. October 1st.
Oh, it is October 1st. Happy almost Halloween to you.
Oh, I have to spend Halloween indoors. I'm gonna cry. Halloween's like, it's like the one thing that I actually celebrate. Actually, what's funny is that Sage and I, we go to horror nights, but obviously you're not gonna do that this year.
Yeah, nah.
I know.
Especially when, I mean, you got COVID, then you got the people with like the blades running on the ground and whatnot, and I'm like, bruh.
I know. Oh my gosh. There's been so many times where I've nearly punched somebody. I'm like there was one time, you know how they're like safe spots, essentially. Like there's supposed to be zones where like nobody's supposed to go like near you. Okay. So I just wanted to get a drink just because I was thirsty from all the screaming and I was just very anxious. Like I had to get a drink. Like I needed a Sprite or something. I was inside like the store, restaurant, whatever you want to call it, like fully like getting a drink, like by the vending machine. Like no one with a chainsaw is supposed to be coming near me. Wrong. Some freaking dude, and I was like, bro, like I need to see your contract because you cannot do that. I could have accidentally thrown my drink at your face. Like
Oh my God. I wish you did. That way he would have got his lesson.
I know. I was like, bro, like, is this your first year? Like, I genuinely wanted to like hold him and be like, dude, like, are you new? I was like, do you not see that I just like I'm getting a drink that I paid like $16 for because it's horror nights. Like, I'd like to enjoy my $16 drink in peace.
Please, yes. Let's just say that guy was new, so there's like zero remorse towards him.
Yeah, benefit of the doubt. But you know, hopefully next year, and he sees me and he recognizes me, I'll be like, "Have you learned your lesson?"
Yes, I'm no longer new. Well, Tiana, so happy you were here to stop by at the lunch table during your time in the Philippines. You know, I'm happy we didn't need a moderator for this this interview.
Oh my gosh, it's moderated for me. Oh my gosh, headache, a literal headache. But yeah, we don't need one. I mean, I'm sure like somewhere like Liz is like watching this, like, oh, I wish she said that. Oh,
right.
Right.
Liz, you know, thank you so much for reconnecting. I mean, not even reconnecting, just setting up this interview because me and Tiana talk all the time, man. So T, thank you so much for stopping by. Enjoy breakfast. You should probably have breakfast soon, huh? In the Philippines.
It's technically gonna be my lunch, but yes, it's breakfast.
Okay. Well, enjoy your breakfast, T.
I sure will. Thanks for having me. Always a fun time.
Talk again soon. Later.
Bye.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.